Hi there, my name is Ron Rogers, and this video is titled Tales from My Early Flying Career. It's a story about how Delmar died needlessly in the crash of a Cessna 150 many years ago. In fact, it's approximately 51 years ago. I had just gotten my private pilot's license through the Air Force Flight Introductory Program, and I had all of 35 hours and I wanted to continue flying, so I joined a flying club. So here I am in this flying club, brand new guy, junior guy, uh, and Delmar was the experienced guy in the flying club with 600 hours of flight time. He was the old timer. Now, this aircraft was based in a little grass strip out of Wellman, Iowa. Now, here's an aerial view of Wellman, Iowa. The grass strip is just south of there. It was a very narrow grass runway with corn on one side, highway and power lines on the other. One end had a tree and farmhouses because Harold Murphy, who kind of ran the whole thing, lived out there on the farm. And the other end was fairly wide open. There's a little road in the middle that gave you a little bit of hump. So if you weren't flying by the time you hit the road, you were pretty much flying when you hit the road. Now, this is my friend Russ. I had gotten in this club and I flew the airplane actually quite a bit. This was a mission where we needed to get the navigational radio repaired. We went from Wellman, Iowa, which is southwest of Iowa City, to Moline to a avionics repair facility there, and we took it in. It was a very crude VOR navigation type receiver, the old type that had a little needle and it had a blue side and a yellow side, and you'd center the course to center the needle and then go from there. And it needed to be repaired, so we flew there and got it repaired. This was about a month before the crash. Now, Delmer wanted to get some night flying patterns in. He wanted to get his night currency back. And so he comes out to the farm, and Harold's out there, and he sees him. And the uh, situation was it was an overcast night, but the visibility was very good. He had very, probably good 10 miles visibility or so. He could see the lights from the surrounding area quite well, but he couldn't see the stars. But he was just going to shoot patterns, and if you shoot patterns, you don't really need to check the weather because you're just going in the local area, and supposedly you can determine that. Now, at the time, it would have cost 25 cents to call from Wellman, Iowa to the Cedar Rapids Flight Service to get a weather briefing. And if Delmer would have done that, he would have found out that the ceilings were about at 600 feet. Visibility was great, but the ceilings were about at 600 feet. Now, another aspect leading to this accident was the fact that the aircraft used a Venturi. Now, a Venturi is a primitive system if you don't have vacuum pumps on the engine, where, especially in the case of this aircraft, before the attitude indicator would get enough suction to align, you were about at 3,000 feet. And look at this aircraft. It's got two of these little suckers here, two Venturis, so you got lots of backup here, right? Well, you can sit there and you can start the engine, and I don't even think we had a suction gauge in this because these usually are associated with aircraft that had vacuum pumps. But you can sit there and there's no airflow through the Venturi, not sufficient enough to spin up the gyros, so you've got nothing. And the aircraft had needle ball and airspeed, but Delmer, as I remember, was not instrument rated, and it'd been a little tough flying needle ball and airspeed. What they think happened in the case of this accident was he took off and probably started his first crosswind turn to execute patterns. And as he did that, he probably entered the clouds. And of course, being in a turn is not good because that can help induce spatial disorientation. And he probably entered the turn, lost control of the aircraft, and the aircraft crashed just off the end and side of the runway. Harold actually went out there since Delmer hadn't returned. It'd been a while. And Harold took off in another airplane and went looking. The weather by that time had improved. And Harold found the aircraft in the cornfield and it was obvious it was not going to be survivable. It looked like it was a vertical descent. This is an actual picture of the crashed aircraft. I don't have one of that, but it impacted in a nearly vertical pitch attitude. And there's a lot of unfortunate things here. You know, you can make a self-assessment on the weather since you're going to stay in the pattern, but you've got an overcast. So, well, should you have called flight service? Well, Cedar Rapids is a good 30 miles away or so, and there's really no other reporting systems. And at the time, there weren't reporting systems that were available, like AWOS at the local airport. So you're going to get a weather briefing that's 30 miles away, and is that going to be of much value? So it gets to be a problem. You really have to, determine, well, how high is that ceiling, and maybe I just shouldn't go until I have a better idea. Anyway, that's the story of Delmar. Thanks for watching.